All right. Thank y'all for coming. Welcome to the funding seminar. Okay. We're going to talk about how to get $250,000 in business credit for your EIN. It's not linked to your social. And if Elgin come, we're going to talk about how to get primary trade lines, or I'll tell you about it. Okay. So, um, thank y'all for coming. All right. I started 10 years ago doing this business credit stuff. And I started writing the library, like writing this library too. So when COVID came, then I started doing the webinars, right? So now this is my comeback to the public. 'Cause I like being out in the public. 'Cause I like being like right with the people. You know what I mean? And the energy, I feed off the energy and give the information. So I'm gonna tell you how to build business credit for real. Okay. And this is a chance for y'all to just to get all the information you can on that matter. All right. So let's just get started. And I talk a lot. So I'm gonna be going fast. I got a lot of information. So I hope y'all can stick with me. All right. All right, let's do this. Okay. How to get $250,000 in business credit for your EIN that's not linked to your social and easily get business loans and credit lines. You might need to close that door. Okay. My name is Noel A. Booker. My company is businesscreditbuilder.us. All right, got the contact information right there. Now we got the buttons at the bottom, right? So the green button is how you get a free guide on how to build business credit. And when you get that free guide, you're gonna get a guide PDF, and you get on my email list where I'm telling you about new stuff coming out, loans you can apply for, new trends and stuff, and all that stuff, right? So make sure you get on that email list. The blue buttons if you want to talk to me about any of the services that we provide. Okay. That's where we sit down for 15 minutes and we're gonna talk about your situation and figure out if we can help you or not, or I'm gonna direct you in the way you need to go. Okay. And if you think you could get funding after this webinar, then you go to businesscreditbuilder.us/get funding. All right. Okay, so let me just give you some quick background on me, right? So I'm from New York. I came down here in 1980 to go to Morehouse, right? I was a freshman at Morehouse. I studied accounting. I had some corporate jobs, and I started a business called MediaNet USA, where I provide accounting services for small businesses, right? And now I talk about business credit. Okay. Okay, so let's get down. What we will cover today: how you can get business credit within 7 days or less that's linked to your EIN, not your social, even if you're a startup or have bad personal credit now. Then immediately start using it to get the credit you want and need, even from major sources like Target, Walmart, Staples, Lowe's, Visa, MasterCard, and more. And how you can access loans even as a startup, have credit challenges, or lack collateral. Okay. Most people fail trying to get money to grow their business. Most people try to get money from the bank when they need money. Most don't know that EIN credit can be built regardless of personal credit quality. Many apply for credit in the wrong order. So, like building business credit is a step-by-step process. Each step is needed for the next step. So you can't skip steps. Okay. Many entrepreneurs don't know that money is available based on business strengths, which I call the 3 C's of funding. This is way important right here: credit, cash flow, collateral. It's just like in the personal world. When you go want to buy a house or you want to buy a car, they try to look at this stuff too. Your credit, how much money you making, right? And if you got something to put down, right? That's like in the personal world. So when you're a business trying to get money, they're looking at you the same way. Okay. And the business got to stand strong because they know that businesses are more risky. You know what I mean? Okay. Okay, so this seminar is for you if you're looking for money to start or grow a business, or you want to build credit that's not linked to your social. Okay, what is business credit? Business credit is credit that is obtained in a business name. With business credit, the business builds its own credit profile and credit score for its EIN number. This credit is in the business name and based on the business's ability to pay and not the business owner's ability to pay. The business can qualify for revolving store credit cards like Staples, Lowe's, Sam's Club, Costco, and even more. Okay, why business credit is awesome. All right, so business credit has no effect on your personal credit. Okay, so your personal credit is solely on your social. Your business credit is solely on your EIN number. When you give your social, now they're looking at your social, right? So you want them to always be looking at your EIN number. So that's the information that they pull from, okay? No personal guarantee is needed in order to build business credit. But let me add to that the personal guarantee helps, right? But, so you have to measure out. You can do it basically on your business credit, period. But then it's going to be a little bit easier for you to use your personal credit if you got good personal credit. Okay. Business credit building is fast. Well, with personal credit, there's 5 factors that affect your personal credit. With business credit, there's 1 factor, and that's how you pay your bill. Okay. With business credit, you can offset current expenses, right? With business credit, you can increase your approval amounts with better rates and terms. Okay. And no collateral, cash flow, or good credit is needed to build business credit. Okay. And once you got business credit, that's when you get access to loans and credit lines. Okay. So I don't want to get you wrong by thinking that business credit is the end all, right? Business credit helps you, just like your personal credit helps you. You still got to show them you're making money, right? You still got to show them that there's some other stuff going down. Just you having credit, like when you go buy a car, they want you to have good credit and they want you to be making some money. It's the same thing with a business. So every successful business in America has business credit. Now, an existing business should already have credit built into how they operate. They should already have it. It's just adjusting how you spend. What every business got to spend something. There's something they got to spend, right? Now, if that whatever you're spending on is reporting to the business credit reporting agencies, then that's an automatic process happening, right? You got to get office paper, you got to get gas or whatever it is you got to get to make your business happen. If those payments are going to the business credit reporting agencies, that's automatic, right? So business credit should be automatic. You should already have it if you got a business and you adjust your spending patterns. Okay, so what you see here is what anybody can see for free. You will go to the Experian website, and there's a place for you to put your business name and address in, and you can get this information. This is for free. This one is for Facebook. They're in Menlo Park, California, but the piece that I want to bring to your attention is the number of trade lines. Okay, you see that? They got 40 trade lines. Well, let's go over what a trade line is. Because the trade line is the basis for building business credit. All right. Does everybody know what a trade line is? Or you think you know? Well, let's make sure, right? So we're on the same page from the beginning, right? So this is the trade line. You get an account, right? You get an account from whatever company, and you're able to buy something on credit, right? So you buy something on credit. Then they give you an invoice. You got the item. Then they give you an invoice to pay it, right? So when you pay it, this is what happens. When you pay it, they send a report to the business credit reporting agencies. The report says such and such a company, they got an account with us. Their limit is such and such amount. They made a purchase and they paid it off in X amount of days. and they send that report to the business credit reporting agencies. The business credit reporting agencies put that on your credit profile, and that's one trade line. Okay? Any questions on what a trade line is? Like, you can make more transactions and more payments with that one vendor. Those are called experiences, and positive experiences are good, right? So you get your trade line, you have your positive experiences. Boom. Okay. So this one is Microsoft. They got 131 trade lines. Walmart, they're like the king of business credit. 80% of everything that they do is on business credit. For example, they go to Bounty. There's your Bounty. Let me get a truckload of toilet paper. The owner of Walmart don't go in his pocket. He don't call accounting to say, cut me a check. The toilet paper shows up to the store. They put it on the shelf. We go in there and buy it. They take our money and pay the bill. Then they say, oh, yo, keep flipping that, right? Keep flipping that. Here's 5 truckloads. Here, rock that again, right? That's how it is in big business and little business. At the small corner store, when the bread comes, they're not paying for the bread right then. They're counting how many units came in, how many units went out. That's how business is done. Business to business with business credit. That's how they do, all right? It's the people that don't know we taking money out of our pockets to go pay something for our business, right? Okay. All right, how we can help. The fundability system. We show you how to make your business credible in the eyes of the lender. Our high-tech software, powered by artificial intelligence, helps you build your business credit to access high-limit store credit, business loans, and credit lines. We work with all legitimate types of funding programs that are available today, offering funding through hundreds of investors and lenders through a multitude of different funding programs. Okay. Well, how do you build business credit? Let's get down. Okay. Now remember, each step I give you is needed for the next step. It's a step-by-step process. You got to go through all the steps. All right. Some people get down and they get to step one, then step 2, and they be like, okay, can I get a loan now? No, we got to get to 3 and 4. Okay. Okay. So fundability. As a business owner, you may be beginning to hear the word fundability a lot. It may come from lenders, various media platforms, or your own current creditors. What is fundability? The ability of your business to get funding. When lenders consider funding your business, does it appear to them to be a good idea to make the loan? What do they look at to make this determination? How does the business become fundable? When a lender considers lending to your business, do they feel that your business is a high risk? Do you appear to be a business that can and will pay the debt back? See, so you don't have to be a credible business. You have to appear to be a credible business, okay? It's how they looking at you, right? You could be a scoundrel, but and have your business set up right. They give you money. You could be a scoundrel. Okay? You got to have it all set up right. Okay. Yeah, I knew they wanted to close that door. Okay. How does a business get fundability? To start, you must make sure your business is set up properly. Okay. A great business credit score is important. In addition, there are many other aspects that are necessary for fundability as well. Okay, so in all these steps, right, the setup process is the most important. It's the most important. Just the basics, ABC stuff is the most important. Thank you for coming in, man, and closing the door. I know I'm interrupting them out there. Okay, so the setup process is the most important, all right? Because Here goes a bonus. All applications, all loans start with an application. And that application is what I call the smell test. They just seeing whether or not you can qualify. If you look like you can qualify, they're not trying to figure out how much to give you. They're just trying to smell you out to see if you're set up right. And the application is nothing but a bunch of fields, right? So each field, they're doing something. They're doing something with each field. If they're asking you for information, this is a reason because they're doing something. Let me give you an example. On the application, your business name, you put your business name. What they're doing is going to the database to figure out and trying to match up your name with all the businesses with a similar name as yours. And it's probably a computer doing that, right? So they're trying to match it up. Now, if it ain't there, then if it's misspelled, you missed the dash, you didn't put the INC on there, it didn't match up exactly, then that computer can say, deny you, and they don't have to tell you why. With personal credit, they got to tell you why. With business credit, they don't have to tell you why. Okay? So it's real important, right? So if you missed that dash or you abbreviated your name because you rushing to fill out this application, you could get denied and not even know why. Be like, oh, this thing don't even work. I'm getting denied, right? It could be some simple mistake. So that's why this setup process is so important, because that simple mistake means down the line someplace where you get denied on something, well, you know it ain't this, because they don't have to tell you. So now you got to figure out what it is, right? So now you know it ain't these items, okay? And these are the basic items that'll get you denied before the application even go anyplace. Now, once you pass the smell test, then if they send the application to the underwriting department, where they decide, okay, they might actually be able to get qualified. Let's see, right? Okay. A potential creditor needs to see that your business is legitimate and profitable. Many loan applications are denied approval due to fraud concerns, others simply because something didn't match up, and throw up a red flags. That's what you want to avoid, the red flags, right? Maybe the addresses or the phone number didn't match up, and it looks just unprofessional that way. Okay. Okay, here we go. The foundation of fundability is how your business is set up. These are the basic things that you need to have and make sure they down. Make sure they down pat. Your business name. You go to the Secretary of State, get your business name. In Georgia, it's $100, right? So you want to get a name that does not signify that you are high risk, that you blow things up. You know what I mean? You don't want to tell them I'm blowing stuff up. You know what I mean? So you have to pick a NOS code and a name. The name has to be like where they can't determine what you're doing. All right. That's what I suggest. And without the special characters. Because when your name goes through these different systems, like the EIN, it's going to go through Dun& Bradstreet, it's going to go through Equifax, it's going to go through Experian. Some of them places don't even look at special characters. So there goes your business matching up perfectly. Okay? Business name, real important, right? Business address. There's 3 options when selecting a business address. The first option to have a brick and mortar. You don't know what that is, a storefront. You definitely need a place where you can accept packages. Okay? The second option is a virtual office address. Okay, so there's hundreds of businesses that offer virtual office addresses, right? I use this place called Da Vinci, I'm gonna tell you. Because what happens is this. Some of these virtual office businesses, they say, yeah, I'm gonna give you a virtual address, right? But then they gave the same address to 100 other businesses. You don't want that, right? You want a unique address for your business, okay? The third option is to have The third and last resort is to have your home address, right? And businesses, lenders don't consider home addresses as being credible, right? But that's like a case by case scenario, right? Because like let's say you're a hairdresser, right? You at the house doing hair. Well, hey, she might be able to pay that bill. They making some loot over there, right? But then they looking for the fraud. So on the other side of that is, let's say you're a trucking company. Well, on your Dun& Bradstreet credit report is a Google Maps picture of your business address. So let's say you're a trucking company. Well, how you gonna keep all your trucks there? They look when they decide whether or not to give you the money or approve your application. They're looking at the front door of your business. They like trying to see, does this make sense? Okay. Okay, that's the three places that you get a business address from, right? You can't use a PO box, and you can't use a UPS address. Okay. The reason why is because on the application, when you got the address, what they are doing, like when I told you, they're doing something for everything on the application. On the address part, what they're doing is looking up a database of all PO boxes and all UPS addresses. You match up on there, they can deny you and not tell you why. Okay, all right. Business phone. This is important. Business phone. You need a local number, right? That's listed with the 411 National Directory. Okay, a local number listed with the National 411 Directory. Okay, that's important because when you do that, it links your address to that business. Okay. Yeah. So on the application, when it says, "Let me get your business number," what they're doing is seeing if you're listed. And when they see that you're listed, they're double checking that address to make sure the address is the same one that's at the Secretary of State. It's the same one that you listed with the EIN number. All that stuff got to match up. It's real important that this stuff matches up. If that stuff not matching any place, they could deny you and not tell you why. Okay, EIN number. I'm not going to tell you much about the EIN number. You'll probably know about that. But I'm going to tell you two things you need to know about the EIN number. One, you can't build business credit without an EIN number. Can't do it. Two, it's free, so don't pay for it. All right. DUNS number. You need a DUNS number. So once you got all this stuff and the website set up and your email, then you go get a DUNS number, and it's free. So when you get this DUNS number, it takes about 30 days to give you a DUNS number. In that time, they're going to be calling you, they're going to be emailing you, telling you that you need to buy something, but you don't need to buy nothing. The DUNS number is absolutely free. And what the DUNS number is a unique identifying number for your business. So when on the application, see, I always go back to this application, right? So on the application, if they ask you for a DUNS number, that means they report to Dun & Bradstreet, and they know exactly where to send your payment information to. The other business credit agencies don't do that. They give you a number, right? So with Dun & Bradstreet, which is the biggest one by far, that's what they do. Okay. What else? Okay, so the contact information, you got to make sure all this contact information is lined up right. Okay. Your business phone number, your fax number, toll-free number, your business address. Okay, with the fax number and the toll-free number, this is the deal. So the local number listed is what you need. Okay, you can't do it successfully without that number listed, right? And then, so they're definitely gonna check this local number and make sure it's listed. Once they got a check mark for that, now that you got a 800 number and a fax number, now you're looking like you're more of a credible business. Okay, you might not be a credible business, but now you're looking like it. right? So like on the application, if they ask me for something, they really don't want to see it blank. They ask you for that fax, they like trying to see if you got a fax. You looking like you a business? You know what I mean? Even though we don't even use a fax nowadays, but it's just how you look. It's just how you look into them. You see what I'm saying? Okay. Boom. Toll free number, business address. Okay. Okay. For the telephone, these are my go-tos to get you a local telephone number that can get listed. Right? Freedom Voice, Ring Central, Vonage. Each one of these will set you up nice. But my go-to is, what's up, man? Thank you for coming. Freedom Voice is my go-to because they're gonna give you a local number for $9.95 a month, and they're gonna list it for $3 a month. And then they'll throw a fax number and a 800 number for under $20 a month. That's a good investment. Ring Central and Vonage, they're gonna start you at 25, but they'll work. Okay. Grasshopper works too, you know. But I always send people to the joints that I know beyond a doubt this works. Okay. Beyond a doubt. All right. So you need to, and there's a bonus. Freedom Voice, when you get that, their customer service is not that good. Well, it depends on who you get, right? Customer service, right? So with them, you gotta get the telephone number, then you gotta call them back and then add the listing service. There gotta be a two-step process with them, right? And I've had some bad experiences, but a lot of good experience with their customer service. But sometimes, they be having somebody in India hardly know English, right? And don't understand the question you're asking them. Okay, virtual office address, DaVinci Office, Virtual Office Solutions. Now, I use them because when you set up with them, they're going to send a form over to the post office. That the post office is going to generate you a unique address. Okay? If you go to this website, businesscreditbuilder.us/vendors, right? Then you'll see that DaVinci logo and it'll give you a telephone number, a name, and some verbiage to tell her what you want, right? You're going to tell her that I told you to call and you need this. That special verbiage that's on that page, right? It's telling her that I need a unique joint, fill out the information for the post office and get me and it just takes about 3 days for them to do because they got to send it over to the post office. The post office is going to mail it back to them and all that shit. Okay? So DaVinci Office Solutions. Now, the other ones that are virtual office, if they're going to give you a unique address, then cool. So some of them do that, but this one I know does it, right? And I got a customer service person that she's going to work right with you, right? Okay, what is fundability? The foundation of fundability. Okay, we talked about the EIN number already. Okay, incorporate. We talked about incorporating, right? So one thing to know about the incorporating is when you register your business name, they're going to ask you to select an entity. What you need to know is that if you select a proprietorship or a partnership, then you are personally liable for anything that happens with this business. So you need to select a LLC, limited liability corporation, or a corporation. Okay? That's what you need to know. And when you get that name, it's important. A lot of people skip over this, and that's to select a low risk NOS code. Okay? Low risk NOS code. A lot of times when I get new clients, I got to go back and switch up the NOS code. They didn't do it, so we got to put something in there. So if there's nothing in there, then lenders look at it and just assign you a high risk one, which means they're not going to approve you or they're going to give you high interest rates because they're seeing you as being high risk. NOS code. Okay. High risk ones, here goes one is high risk. And on my blog is a whole article. All right, maybe we could go there right now. Let's see. I don't want to mess this thing up though, but I want to show y'all for real. Let's see if I could do that. I do want to show you. Oh, no, try. I don't want to mess it up. Shoot.
You should just
That's where we was. No, I'm not gonna go there because I don't want to mess up the thing. But the NOS code. Now I keep forgetting. It's the North American something. Anyway, if you go to my website, which is businesscreditbuilder.us, and you go to the blog, go to US/blog, that'll take you into my blog. If you put in the search codes, then this article will come up about the NOS codes. It'll give you low risk NOS codes. It'll give you high risk NOS codes. Now, just off the top of my head, trucking is high risk, right? Um, so if I got a company that's a new client of mine, they say they're a trucking company, I'm not going to put that on the NOS code on the Secretary of State. I'm going to put non-residential manager, because now I could buy trucks and be a non-residential manager. I'm managing warehouses. I'm buying trucks, I'm taking stuff, so it all lines up. I don't want to lie, but I want to put it in close proximity. You know what I mean? That makes sense, right? So realistically, companies that are like pawn shops or companies that's making bullets, those are high risk, right? But the ones that you wouldn't think would be like a trucking company, right? But it's good to find that article. It's on my blog, and it gives you a lot of it gives you all the high risk ones to avoid and the ones to not avoid, right? I mean, the ones to go to, the low risk ones. So when I get a new client now, I'm figuring out what they're doing. I'm finding one of them on this low risk. I'm not messing with none of them high risk at all. Because when you fill out an application, they see that high risk joint. Now you messing up, right? You're slowing down your fundability, right? Okay, I got a lot to go. I'm glad I didn't do that. That would have took us off schedule. Boom, licenses. Okay, what is fundability? It's being a legitimate business. For a business to be a legitimate, it has to have all the legitimate licenses it needs to operate. This is common sense stuff, right? Okay, but I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't let you know all the things about fundability, right? The most common mistake is having an appropriate license, but having an old address. That'll get you denied, and they don't have to tell you why. Okay? That old address, right? They see that old address. Well, where are you? You over here? You over there? You gonna pay me? That's what they thinking, right? They trying to figure out any way to flag you. Okay? So do the research. Boom. Federal, state, and local. Okay, websites. Nowadays, you need to have a website to be considered a legitimate business. It's just how it is today, right? So you need a business website and you need a business email. Lenders and creditors will deny you if you do not have a website, okay? And it can't be that, something dot your business name. It got to be yourbusinessname.com or .net or whatever it is, right? So spend time and money necessary to ensure you have a website that's professionally designed and works well. Basically, it just makes it look like I'm there, we real, you know what I mean? Because what they're gonna do is on the application, this is one of them slide things they do on the side. They just go to Google and put your name in, see if they can find you. And then if this old addresses come up, now, do you want them to find you? And then once they find your website, they're gonna pass that nice, pretty the home page you got. Then they go straight to the contact page. Okay. When they get to the contact page, they're gonna look at the name, the address, and the telephone number and see if it matches up to what you just put on the application. Now they're waiting for you to slip up. You see? They waiting for you to slip up. right? All this information got to be straight from the beginning. All right. That's why when I do my clients, I have them do this company profile. Big one page. It got the name, address, DUNS number, EIN, telephone number, fax, NOS code. So that every time they go and fill out an application, they got this page in front of them, the company profile. And they're saying the same exact information each time. Because it's easy to do the new thing or whatever, or do an old number. So that's how important it is. Okay, so email. That's simple, right? That's common sense. You gotta have but it's good to know. Because some people will do business with their Gmail, right? You don't do business with your free email service. You do business with your name at yourbusinessname.com, right? That's just something good to know. But it's common sense. They don't want to see you do business with the free email thing. They want to see if you legit, right? So you're going to do business with your business stuff, right? So don't use Big Booty Judy, right, at Yahoo. Okay. So my company, MediaNet USA, we provide all-inclusive small business web hosting services with this program. This is what it includes. Domain registration, 12 months web hosting, website design, monthly updates, unlimited emails, expert customer service, and internet consultation. So most things people need to know about is domain registration. That's a third-party registration. I'll just give it to you. 12 months web hosting. These are the things that you need to have a website. If y'all know about websites and what you need, these are the things. And which is all inclusive, where I do everything for you, right? Unlimited emails. Oh, emails. So if you go to a company like GoDaddy, right, they're going to a la carte you for everything. You'll get your domain registration. They're going to give you this web building package. All right. And then now you need an email. Now they're going to charge you $99 a year for one email. Okay. So when you get a hosting company to do your website, the email should come right with it. Unlimited, right? That's what it should be. But then you got these companies that go there, they're going to a la carte you and get you, they're going to try to tax you. Their job is to just create more and more invoices, right? That's just what you need to know about the web hosting industry. Okay. So if you need to get your website done, just contact me on the telephone number or you schedule a consult, right? At businesscreditbuilder.us/consult. Okay. What is fundability? The foundation of fundability is business credit reports. Okay. So once you got your business all set up, right? We got our business set up, we got our name, address, all this stuff, EIN, we got our DUNS number, boom. Now you need to understand the importance of the business credit reporting agencies and your business credit report, okay? So there's 3 companies, Dun & Bradstreet, Experian, Equifax. These are the 3 major joints, right? There's a couple more, but these are the 3 major joints, right? So you need to understand the importance of your business credit reportings and how to read them. That's the hard part. Reading them is not so easy, okay? Because they'll list your trade lines, but they won't say, yo, this is Home Depot, this is Gulf, or whatever. It's going to say, this is home and entertainment, or this is, they're going to categorize it. So you got to watch what you're doing. You go back to your reports and use the process of elimination to figure out what that new stuff is. And to make sure that stuff gets put on there, because these vendors, when we get our trade lines, they don't do that. They don't do the after the sale transactions good. That's after the sale. They wanted the sale. Now they're not spending money on after the sale stuff. Okay. So when you call them and say, yo, what's my trade line? The person that you call and talk to might not even know what a trade line is, right? So then you got to talk to the credit department. And then the credit department, he might not know nothing. So he's going to send you to the credit manager. And then some of these companies use a third party to transmit their stuff. So the manager don't even know. Okay, what happened? They just got a policy, right? Oh, it's going out on this day, it's going out on that day, right? So it's good to have a consultant like myself to be right with you on these type of transactions because they mess up all the time on submitting your stuff, right? Making sure your stuff gets there on time and accurately. Okay, here's a bonus. IDIQ is a place where you can get your personal credit and you can get your business IntelliScore from Experian. All right. That's a good resource right there. So on that vendors page, right there, businesscreditbuilder.us/vendors, you can scroll down and see that IDIQ logo, and you can go in there and get yourself your personal report and your business Experian report. Okay. All right. Other business data agencies, in addition to the business reporting agencies that directly calculate and issue credit reports, there are other business data agencies that affect those reports indirectly. Okay. So you can do your research on these, which is LexisNexis and the Small Business Finance Exchange. Okay. While you may not be able to access or change the data the agencies have on your business, you can ensure that new information they receive is positive. Enough positive information can help counteract any negative information from the past. Identification numbers. Okay. I talked to you about the DUNS number. That's one identification number. Experian has the BIN number, the Experian BIN, which is the business identification number. They issue that number upon the first trade line to report to Experian. So all these vendors, they report to whoever they want to report to. They might just report to Dun & Bradstreet. They might just report to Experian or Equifax, or they might report to all three, right? So, and the thing about that is Dun & Bradstreet, the DUNS number. Okay, there's the DUNS number, which I told you about that, right? That's the identifying number to identify your business directly related to your address at Dun & Bradstreet. That's crucial. That address is crucial, right? And that address got to line up every place, right? Okay. And then once you got 3 vendors to report to Dun & Bradstreet, Dun & Bradstreet will issue you a paydex score. Okay. The paydex score is the score that the lenders look at to determine your credit worthiness. It goes from 0 to 100. So if those first 3 that were sent to Dun & Bradstreet, you paid on time, they're going to give you a paydex score of about 76. You need to be at paydex score of 80 or above. Basically, above 80 is where you need to be. So when you do those first 3, maybe on time, then they're going to give you about a 76. All right. So now you know you need some more experiences, positive experiences going to Dun & Bradstreet so they can up it up some, right? And, when you're doing the business credit, you're just getting more vendors that are reporting to Dun & Bradstreet with positive transactions, right? Okay. This is simple stuff, yo. Okay. Okay. Okay, what is fundability? Personal credit history. Now, I don't talk too much about personal credit history, but I mention it here because now you can build your business credit straight from scratch and get your personal credit is messed up. You can start business credit and do business credit, right? But if you had personal credit, it can make you more fundable. It's going to give you some more avenues along the way. Okay, you can do it without the personal credit, but having it helps you most def. Okay. 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 Align your business information correctly. This is a problem because a ton of loan applications are turned down each year due to fraud concerns or simply because things don't match up. So, in review, you already know exact business legal name, business address, business phone, address with the IRS for your EIN, and any place you got these type of accounts, your insurance, the business, the licenses, your website, bank account, all got to have your right information, right? I didn't mention the bank account. It's one of the things that you need to have in that list, the bank account. And at the bank account, they got to make sure you got the right business address listed on the account, okay? Okay, what is fundability? Financial statements. So a fundable business got financials. Now, you ain't got no financials if you're a brand new business. Okay, we know that, right? But, and a brand new business ain't that fundable because they're not lending to a brand new business, point blank. I'm just to let you know, right? They're not lending to a brand new company unless they got the 3 C's already, right? You already know what 3 C's are, right? Cash flow, credit, collateral. Okay, so I mention this because this is what helps a business become fundable. So a fundable business, when they go and fill out an application, they know automatically that they're getting ready to ask for their financials, so they got them on deck. Bam. Ain't no, yo, okay, I'm gonna get my accountant, I'm gonna give them to you in a month. That's not a fundable business. A fundable business got them on deck, right? Okay. And the financials I'm talking about is like the income statement and the balance sheet that's done most of the time monthly, quarterly, or yearly. Okay. Personal tax returns. My vision. Okay. Often tax returns from the previous 3 years will suffice. Get a tax professional to prepare them. This is the bare minimum you will need. Other information lenders may ask for are check stubs, bank statements, among other things, to verify the 3 C's, right? They want to verify the 3 C's, all right? Okay. What was that? Okay, so now you're beginning to understand the fundability, right? I'm gonna skip over this mumbo jumbo. Okay. Okay, so this chart is just an example of how complicated it is because there's a whole bunch of stuff that goes into the fundability, right? Like on the stuff on the left is all the credibility items, right? Like all that stuff on the left. like the name of your business, your telephone, your address, your EIN number, all that stuff on the left, all that stuff. And then the stuff on the right, your application process, the financial statements, your credit reports, all that stuff goes into how fundable your business is. Now, some of that stuff you can control, some you can't, but you need to understand which ones you can and make it as best as you can, right? Simple stuff, right? Okay. Now, remember I said each step is needed for the next step. Now we're going to go to the next step. So far, we did setting up your business credible in the eyes of the lender. And we talked about the importance of the business credit reports, right? And how reading the business credit reports is important to going forward because you got to know that the right stuff is on there, right? Okay, so now that we got all that stuff set up, you see how long it took me to do all that stuff? That's how important that is, though, to make sure it's right. Because now we're getting ready to do some business credit. I've been talking a lot already, and we ain't even built one trade line. Okay, so we got to be ready for this, right? Okay, so this step is when we start building business credit. We're going to start with these net 30 accounts, starter vendors. All right. And this part is not that easy because now we got to find a company that's going to give us credit when we got no credit. And you know businesses ain't doing that. I already told you. And you already know. And they got to be able to report to the business credit reporting agencies. And only 10% of all businesses in America report because they're under high restrictions and guidelines to be even able to report. So it's hard to find these companies reporting. Okay. And now we got to find a company reporting, and it's going to give us credit when we got no credit. But I got you, right? So now we're gonna do these net 30 accounts, right? Net 30 accounts meaning they're gonna give us a little bit of credit, and when we buy something on credit, we need to pay the full balance in 30 days. Okay. A business credit report can be started much the same as a consumer report commonly is with small amounts of credit. The business can be approved for small amounts of credit to help them build an initial credit profile. These types of initial accounts in the business world are commonly referred to as vendor credit or net 30 accounts.
But see, I want to build it quick. I want to go ahead and I want to show some active page, stuff like that. So instead of maybe 30, we're going to turn around and slide in 7 and 15. And then multiple
715s?
I'm paying on like that.
Oh, you mean 15 accounts that have net 15?
Net 7, paying every 7 days.
Oh.
And every 15 days, and then slow down in a month. I'm ready to turn around and then pay multiple times.
That'll work because in your process to get these net 30s, I use net 30 as a starter because that's the basic joint. But in your search for the net 30s, there are net 7 accounts, right? Those are harder to get. Net 15, there's net all types of nets, right? So as long as they're reporting to the Business Credit Reporting Agency, that's the main thing. At the stage we're at right now is to get trade lines. Whatever trade line, net 7, report that joint. Boom. Now, if we pay it every 4 times in a month, that means 4 experiences, which means we're doing good. The more experiences, the better, right? So that net 7 means every week we making a payment that's on time. Boom, our credit is going up faster than normal, right? You want it. Okay. Okay, so boom. Some vendors will approve your company for net 30 payment terms upon verification, and net 7s upon verification of as little as your EIN number and a 411 listing on your local telephone number. That's the first start. So that telephone number is crucial. The first account we're going to get is going to approve you just because you got your telephone number listed and you got an EIN number. We in there. We in there like swimwear, right? So here goes the start of vendors. Here are some vendors who will approve you for initial credit, even if you have none now. Maverick, that's the first place to go to. That's the easiest joint right there, no doubt. Maverick, the CEO creative, that might work for you, right? But we got JJ Gold, that's the one, that's the quick joint to go and get, right? Coast to Coast, that's a new one. Coast to Coast is brand spanking new. That's like it's a family business out of California. I just researched them. Okay. And Uline, they sell like janitorial supplies and stuff, right? So now when you get in these accounts, right? Some of them that's going to give you this net 30 account, they're not going to be selling stuff that you might not buy none of that stuff. But the idea here is to get a number of trade lines. Now, I ain't saying go waste no money, right? I'm saying strategize. You got to think this out, right? So there's a company called DigiKey. They're not a startup vendor anymore. But when I got an account with them, they gave me $1,000 credit. So I went on their website. I looked around for something to buy. I couldn't find jack because it's all, receptacles or, electrical stuff. I didn't know nothing, right? So I called up the door. I said, yo, man, I'm just trying to get a trade line popping. You need to spend $50 in order for them to report, okay? So I'm talking to the guy on the telephone. Sell me something, man. So he couldn't really tell me what to buy. So I hung up. I was getting ready to go to the next vendor, just skip over that, right? But I looked in there more and I saw these flashlights, right? Now, flashlights, everybody needs a flashlight at the crib, no doubt. So there was this flashlight in there. It was like a spotlight, right? It goes up in the woods real strong. It was like $35. Then they had this other flashlight to go around your neck, $15. Boom, $50. And I still use that big flashlight. I don't know what that little flash is like this. But that big flashlight, I got right at my door. If the lights go out, I could go and get that flashlight, closing my eyes. Right? So that's how you got to think. You got to think out the box and see how important this trade line is. It's important to get these trade lines. That's the deal. The number of trade lines, okay? Okay, so now our goal is 5. 5 of these net 30s, right? Some vendors will require an initial prepayment order before they get approved. Like Uline is the company that's like that. If you go to Uline and there's nothing on your credit report, then they're gonna ask you to do a payment first, buy something first, and then we'll give you the net 30. But then you just keep talking to them, yo, you know what I mean? Hook me up. You know what I mean? You just gotta keep talking to them. So some of my clients, I say, skip over that, you don't need that stuff. But then some of my vendors, they can use that stuff. You see, so the vendors that can use that stuff, I tell them, do what you need to do to get that account because you can use that stuff, right? They might be a cleaning company and they need the janitorial, they need to buy mops and all that stuff, right? On a regular. So they need that account, okay? So, and remember I was saying, that's like part of automatically having business credit, the stuff you spend, right? Okay, you need to have a total of at least 5 net 30 day pay accounts reporting. That's why I got this card. Check out this card, right? The card got the number 5 on it. Then the card got the smoke. But look at his face. He's like, yo, I got credit now. I got 5 net 30 accounts. Now we can go to the next step, right? Step by step. Now, these 5 that we got, preferably have 3 of them report. And when you get these accounts, you got to know who they report to. Okay, so you can just ask them who they report to. They'll tell you who they report to. 3 of them go to Dun & Bradstreet, right? Because when you got 3 going to Dun & Bradstreet, they're going to give you that pay desk score, right? So these first 5, get 3 going to Dun & Bradstreet, 1 to Equifax, 1 to Experian, right? And that gets you started the quickest, right? You need to get that pay desk score quick. That's how you do it, right? Boom. Okay, after 5 trade lines are established, using vendor credit accounts, obtaining revolving accounts is the next step. Okay, once we got the 5, 3, and 2, now we can go get revolving accounts or cards that a business owner can use and not be required to pay the full balance each month, like the net 30s. Revolving accounts is the one that give you the minimum amount, right? The minimum payment, right? So most major stores offer business credit, but you got to have credit already. That's why you got to have them. Remember I said them steps? So this is where you want to be, but they're not going to, if you just skip to them, they're going to deny you right away, right? So Home Depot, Lowe's, Office Depot, Staples, Best Buy, Walmart, Sam's Club, Costco, Amazon, Dell, Apple, BP, Chevron, Racetrack, and there's a whole bunch of them, all right? See, so some businesses, just to operate, they might need just 2 of these accounts, like a gas card and a Best Buy card, right? Or somebody else might need a Home Depot card, right? Just to operate. Somebody flipping houses, they just need to buy a bunch of wood or something, right? It might be a truck driver. He just needs a gas card to make sure his business is running, right? In which you got something you need to pay for, you buy it on credit, you go make the money, and then you pay for it, right? And that keeps you automatically having business credit, right? That's how you're supposed to use business credit, right? Okay. Once 10 accounts, this is the goal, 10 accounts, all right? Because when you go to a bank and try to get some money and they're looking at you like, okay, do you got some business credit? What they're looking at is your business credit report having 10 trade lines on there, paying on time. Now you talking. Now, yo, let's do some business. I pay shit, nigga. Right? I pay shit. All right. That's how it is. Right? Okay. So 10 accounts on the credit. Then you can start applying for Visa, MasterCard, Amex. Approval amounts will be equivalent to the highest credit limit account on the business reports. So try to have 10 accounts with at least one of them having a high 10,000 high limit. Okay, so when you get these revolving accounts, you use one of them more often, the revolving accounts, because they impact the credit better, right? And you want to use that guy more often, one of them. And then when they see you're making on-time payments, then you call them up and say, yo, let me get an increase. Because the higher your limits, the better. So when you increase your accounts, the limits go up. Then when you apply for a credit card and they see what your limits are, they're going to match the highest limit you already have. You see that? That's a power move right there. It is essential to keep using the credit, keep applying for more, and talk with credit providers to raise credit limits. If you do this, business credit will keep growing until higher limits, credit lines are obtained 6 to 12 months. Okay, so people ask me, well, how long does it take to build business credit? So if you do this on your own, it's going to take you more than a year, most deaf. Because you're going to be stumbling along the way, right? Trying to read the reports. You're going to come up with errors I had an error that I didn't find for 3 months, and then it took me 3 months to correct it. You see? Okay, so using my program takes about 12 months, and I could get you up to 10 trade lines using my program. If you do it on your own, you can do it with all the information I gave you. And all the information I gave you, you already know. You know how to go get an account. You know how to read an invoice and when to pay it. That's all this is. That's all this is. You already know that. I'm not even telling you nothing new. It's just some of these little details, right? Okay. Okay, no skipping steps. 10 trade lines, high limit of 10. Cash business credit accounts will match the highest credit limits reported on the credit profile to get access to MasterCard, Visa, American Express, loans, and credit lines. Okay, now I'm going to give you 3 ways to get funding your bank won't tell you about because they don't sell this. Okay, so of all the businesses that go to a bank and say, yo, I want a business loan, 80% of them businesses get denied because they didn't have the 3 C's, right? A lot of businesses don't have the 3 C's. That's how it is, right? So within the last under 20 years, there's been these alternative funding sources that's trying to get that 80% that was denied. They're trying to make money and lend to those people, right? Which is giving more access to money, right? Okay, so I'm gonna tell you about 3 ways, right? So cash flow financing. Cash flow financing is the most popular type of alternative funding. This is not for every business though, right? This one is for businesses that are existing. They make money, but they came into a situation. They got to make payroll Friday, or a piece of equipment went out. And now I need this equipment. I need this money like right now. So we can continue to get this money. Because this is expensive, right? So the cash flow finance is expensive, but you have to have money, right? So you can get money with them if you're depositing in your bank at least $3,000 a month, right? But they really want to see you doing $10,000 in there every month, right? And it's easy as hell. You can do it in 10 minutes on your telephone. You go on my website on the loans portion, you look for that David Allen Capital joint, and you put out your little application. Remember, I told you the application just a smell test, right? So they're gonna give you a quick smell test, and they're gonna ask you how much you make per month. Based on how much you make per month, they're gonna send you to the lending partner that accommodates you, right? So they got the Giggle Finance, they got the Biddy, and they got the Bank Breezy. Bank Breezy handles the big money, right? So depending on how much you make, they're gonna send you to that, and then they're gonna tell you whether or not if you make under 3,000, then they're gonna send you an email saying, yo, you don't qualify, right? Now, one thing about getting lending money is I tell people, let's say you do get $100,000 loan, right? A lot of people, some people are just looking for the bag of money, right? I ain't mad at looking for the bag of money. Some people come up to me and think they're gonna get a bag of money and it's gonna take a whole long time to spend it, to pay it back. It don't happen like that, right? So if you get $100,000, you need to at least flip that 100 to make 200,000, so you can afford to spend 10,000 on interest. Otherwise, it don't make no sense. If you're just gonna spend the money, you out of pocket. It ain't making no sense. You gotta make money so you can spend. You have to make sure that interest expense is on the income statement, right? Okay, that's like common sense. You just don't go in there to get money just to get it. Collateral-based funding. Collateral-based funding can be obtained if you have some viable collateral to offset what you are borrowing. Even as a startup with bad credit, you can still secure collateral funding if you have collateral. Okay, here goes some examples of collateral. Accounts receivable. That's also known as factoring. So I had a client that he was a freight company. He used factoring to get funding, which is he got the trucking company. His trucks are making a delivery. He invoices for that payment. It takes him 30 days to get that. So if you can batch your invoices and sell them, then he gets 80% of his money in 24 days. 24 hours, right? And then they once the people pay their bill, then they give you the rest, less than 2% fee. Right? That's one way. Purchase orders, that's for businesses that got government contracts. Like if you go into a commercial bank and you got a government contract, that don't mean jack to them. But there are companies that if you got a government contract to go pave the road or put computers in the schools or whatever it is, there are companies that alternative fundings. They'll give you money for that government contract. They look at that government contract. That's like straight money. The check is going to clear, right? Okay, but the bank ain't going to mess with you. Okay, the stocks, bonds, and 401ks, if you have these type of investments, you can get a business loan that does not affect your investment. Revenue lending. Revenue lending is like, let me give you an example. If you got a car dealership and you got a whole bunch of cars you're selling, you get a loan, and then as you sell a car, then you pay down your loan. That's revenue lending. Inventory and equipment. If you have $100,000 in equipment or inventory, you get a loan. If you have equity in your home, you can get a business loan. And for insurance agents, they have what they call the book of business. That's their list of kinds. So insurance agents can get a loan that way. Okay. Here's the last one. This one is for if you have good personal credit. It's called the Credit Line Hybrid Program. It's our credit card staffing program. This is how it works. They're going to look at, you got to have good personal credit. You got to have at least a 685 and a trade line and a revolving account on your personal that's high, right? So what they do is they look at your personal. They say, okay, you got a Home Depot for 30,000 on there. You got a 685 or above. Now, what they're going to do is apply for up to 5 credit cards at one time. And they're going to match that highest limit you got. So in this example, it's the Home Depot got 30,000. They're going to give you up to 5 cards $30,000 each, not to exceed 150,000, and you get that in 3 weeks. That can get approved in 30 weeks. So for a startup business, this is perfect. A startup business with good personal credit, you're fundable right now up to about 150, right? And you can use that. You can use those credit cards for whatever. Go get the wood. You can put money down on a house. Whatever you're doing, now you got up to $150,000 in 3 weeks, but you got to have that personal credit. Credit line hybrid program. There's a video on the website. If you go to businesscreditbuilder.us/funding, all the requirements are there. I think you're not supposed to have up to a certain amount of inquiries and all this stuff, right? Basic stuff. But the most important stuff is to have a 685 or above and that high limit on the revolving, right? Because if your credit card is only $2,000 on there, it ain't gonna be worth doing this, right? You need at least 5 so you can get 5 times 5, get up to 25,000, right? Something like that. But the low limits is you gotta weigh it out for you, right? You gotta weigh it out for you. Okay. That's the credit line hybrid. You know where to go and get that at the Get Funding page. Okay, what did I miss? Okay, so like I said before, I'm like a loan broker, right? So I got hundreds of legitimate lenders already, and I know the underwriting guidelines and what they need to get you approved. Most people can't get approved right now. So that's what I do. I help you get approved because I know exactly. So approaching funding your business, first you got to figure out, what do I need to buy? What do I need to operate, right? And then now we're going to figure out the program that's going to help the best, right? Or see what combinations, because sometimes it ain't getting like one lump sum, $150,000 one lump sum. It's trying to figure out, okay, I'm going to get the gas over here. I'm going to get the wood over here. I'm going to get my copy machine over here, right? You got to figure out how you're going to finance it, right? Okay, so we got access to private money, right? Venture capitalists and equity financing, that's like the Shark Tank guys, right? Where they give you money and they take equity in your business. You know about crowdfunding. Now, you can get specialized funding like equipment, signs, and vehicle wraps. So, equipment, that includes trucks, right? So, how I even started with this business credit was my client had a freight company. He was buying trucks, tractor trailers, right? And here goes the trick. he was kind of shady, right? The trucking company, right? He had multiple companies set up, and I was doing his websites too. I was his client for his accounting for his freight. So I would do his websites. What he would do is have me do a website. I'll set up the website with all the address, telephone number, all that stuff, just like I told y'all, right? Then he'll have another company that's a truck sales company, right? So he'll set up this business, and his name ain't on none of them, right? He'll set up this business, and it looks right. He got the financials. I made the financials for him. Okay, he puts the financials up on the Dun & Bradstreet and all that stuff. So now this business gets approved for 250. I see the money hit the bank, right? And then he'll go to his other company, the truck sales company. That he'll tell the lending company, the equipment lending, right? He'll say, this is where I'm buying it from. So the check goes to that company, which is his. I'm saying that deposit go in. You see? Now, he didn't even pay the bills on none of this stuff because his name wasn't in none of that, right? So he's like siphoning this, he's beating the system, right? That's how I learned about this. He didn't tell me this. I learned it by just looking at everything he was doing. I was like, oh, snap. So that's why I do it. That's why now when I teach you business credit, I teach you how to do it for real. See, he was jumping the system, right? He's manipulating the system to make it look like he's a credible business. But what I taught you, that's how you really do it. Trade line by trade line. Trade line by trade line is the real way to do it. See, him, By the time they figured out he didn't got them, he didn't close down that address and went to another damn address. And then they even looking for him because his name ain't even on the company. He's communicating with them because he put a guarantor. He paid a guarantor to put on the company, and then he put a fictitious name on the company. And now he's communicating with these companies, trying to get the loan through this fictitious name using his business address. I was like, what? So business credit works, but I ain't trying to work it like that. That's why I teach how to do it for real, right? Boom. All right, so how to easily get business credit and financing all in one place? The fundability system. On my website, you can see testimonials of people that have done this before. It's the easiest and fastest way to get money and credit to build and grow your business. It's a simple solution. Okay, so what you get with my system, the fundability system, you get your own control panel, right? You log it into your own control panel. You get business credit for your business that's not linked to your social through the top selling business credit system. You get access to funding for your business to start, build, and grow. Our cutting edge technology helps you meet credibility requirements before you apply. You can access discounted business credit reports, get free Experian Smart business access, largest supply of starter vendors to start your business credit, massive selection of revolving store credit with underwriting guidelines, hard to find cash credit sources, no personal check or guarantee required. Okay, you get access to the cash flow, collateral-based financing, the unsecured financing, that's the credit line hybrid, the private money, alternative SBA, venture capital. Our most popular product is the credit line hybrid program for those startups with good credit. Okay. So you get your own control panel. Control panel looks similar to that, But now we got the new update. Don't look like that really. Okay. The new update got, it's done by AI and it's connecting your business credit report in what you're putting into the system. And when you tell it what you want to do, the AI is going to tell you exactly the steps to take to get to your goal. Okay. So we got a course of action. You go through the courses, right? Now, okay, so we tell you what vendors to get, right? We don't tell you exactly which one. We're going to tell you, here's the list, pick 3 of these, right? Like, remember I said the first goal is to have 3, so you go by stages, right? So our system is going to tell you to pick 3. We're going to give you a list and pick 3. And each vendor we give you information like this. This is Racetrack. We tell you who they report to. You definitely want to know who they report to, right? We got the telephone number there, the description of what they sell, and everything that you need to qualify right there. We tell you exactly, so you ain't wasting time. If you do this on your own, you'll be calling up vendors and say, yo, can I get a credit account? They're going to tell you, well, or you might ask them, well, what do I need to get a credit account? What they're going to tell you is fill out this application and I'll tell you if you qualify. So we're going to tell you exactly what they need before you even apply. Okay, that's a big advantage to wasting time, right? So this one here, my site is so bad I can't even read it, but all this stuff is simple, right? Y'all see the stuff? EIN number, your telephone number, your address right in the same places, all that stuff, right? Some of these businesses need you to be in business for a certain amount of time. You see, that's why I said, new businesses ain't getting that much fundability because you got to be in business like the Home Depot account. The Home Depot ain't messing with you until you're in business for 3 years. Okay? Here goes one of my clients, Christine. She was able to do this in 6 months only because she's a stay-at-home mom. Most people got stuff to do in the day, right? But she was able to do this in 6 months. Most of the time, I'm telling you, this is going to take you 12 months to do. Sprint 2,000, Amazon 4,000, Tractor 5,000, Exxon 5, Fuelman Fleet, BJ's, BP, Lowe's, Apple, Shell. This is over. This list here is over 250. Okay. Look at PNC Bank. That's a credit line of credit, right? So with her EIN, they gave her 150. But if she had put her personal on it, it would have been 250, right? So you could do this. It just takes, you got to have your business set up. I told you all the routine already, right? You can do it. You see how, what? Any questions? Okay, you get your own business credit advisor. You get your finance advisor. So the business credit advisor, that's like you're going through the system and they say, okay, get these 3 vendors, and now you got a question, right? You want to ask them a question. Then you just call them up. Customer service, right? Call the customer service. Now, once you get to a point where you're ready to apply for something, then the finance officer is going to get you set up and make sure you apply at the right place, make sure your application is right, all right? Because they're going to make money if you get the loan. So they're going to be trying to help you get that money. Okay. In most instances, they're getting a little cut. So they trying to get you that money. They're trying to make sure you get approved. They're trying to make sure your business is set up properly with the requirements for whatever it is, right? And we know what it is already. Okay, here's a quick summary. We get out of here. Your own business finance suite control panel, discounted business credit reports, free DUNS number, largest suppliers, starter vendors, master selection of revolving store credit, hard to find cash credit sources, that's the credit cards, access to cash flow, collateral based, unsecured, private money sources. It'll typically take you from 18 to 24 months. So our services just helps you save time. We're gonna save you time, okay? I'm not saying I'm guaranteeing you I'm gonna save you time in doing this, right? Okay, so I got 2 different programs. I got the fundability system and I got the one-on-one program, which is the business credit building program. All right. So the fundability system, get started today as part of the seminar. You can get started with a huge discount on your premier enrollment. And that one goes for $29.95. I could take one person at the $16.95. If y'all contact me, do a consult today, and I could hook you up with the half price off deal. Okay. Or we could contact me and we could discuss what the payment options would be, right? It'll be like a significant down payment and then payment options, right? Now, the other one, this one, what most people do because it don't cost that much. This is the one-on-one program. It's just me and you. And how this usually works is I'm talking to you about twice or 3 times. As many times I need to talk to you to get get the job done, I'm going to talk to you. But usually it's twice a month or 3 times a month. And we're talking about what vendors to get, when to pay it, when to pull the credit report. All right, let's have a meeting about reading the credit report. What's the strategy after that? And we're talking, right? All the time, right? And that's for 1 year. All right. Single payment is $695, usually a G, right? We could do some payment on that, right? But this definitely gets you started right here. It's a one-on-one. I'll make sure everything is right. I'm gonna go over your business with you. We're gonna be working it. We're gonna know what your goals are, what the vendors that work for you are. You see what I'm saying? Oops. Oh, I done messed up. Okay. Oh, snap. Okay. My whole screen went bugging. Okay. So boom.
Yes, that's it.